Oh, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, just before the race begins, we have some technical issues. Um, Damn it, I was hoping that error code wasn't going to quite go away. Okay, checksum failed. Well, this has all of a sudden turned into remote diagnosis. I have also got the little overlay on my left-hand screen here, so I can tell you that at the moment it is Andy Craker and Alex Smith, Andy in the 8C, Alex in the 4C, heading into that first corner now. It is still at the moment, by the looks of things, it's Alan Matthews, in fact, who leads heading into this first corner. It's Alan Matthews who brings out a big lead here at Portimao, the twists and turns of Portimao. This is now silent. It's not silent, it's blind commentary. I will try and get that resolved for you as quickly as possible, but the tech has really not enjoyed this series so far, has it? We've had a couple of issues. Hopefully I can get back in. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to report we are properly underway now. All the technical issues resolved, and we get to see these fantastic cars running around the Portimao circuit, the Circuit de Algarve. Of course, this is the first time that I, at least, have been able to stream this championship. So those of you who might be, for some reason, tuning in because I'm here, although I doubt you really want to, what is this championship about? Well, it's a bit of summer fun, really. Let's try out some new cars from tracks we may not necessarily usually visit, and see what the drivers can do. So a little bit of a different format in the sense that, of course, it is full endurance, so drives are running for around 90 minutes. That's just a race session. We're going to get a little bit less than that, it being a bit of a slow start this evening, so I do apologise for that. For us on watching on the stream, it's not going to seem like too long at all, only 55 minutes. But I'm sure the drivers are already revelling in the challenge, shall we say, because you've got to keep the concentration levels quite high for quite a long amount of time in the cockpit of the cars here. And what are the cars? Well, unfortunately, our timing tower hasn't decided to come back. It was there when I booted it up, I promise. Appear to have a couple of scaling issues here, so you can get those resolved for you as quickly as possible. But what are the cars on offer? Well, we have three for the drivers to choose from. All have their own strengths and weaknesses. We have the Alfa Romeo 8C GT Sport. We have the 4C GT3 done by Harpy Mods. That is a great little mod, that. And then we have my personal favourite. Unfortunately, I haven't jumped to it just yet. We'll see after the drivers complete another lap. Perhaps I should be able to see that in just a moment. But the Julius short wheelbase Zagato has been adapted as a GT3 car, and my oh my, is that a sight to behold. It looks absolutely spectacular, that thing does. It's arguably the least pleasant to drive from the feedback I've heard from some of the drivers. It certainly is a difficult beast to tame there, as we're on board with Andy Craig, I should mention, currently leading this race. Put under pressure. He's put under pressure by Alex Smith, hunting him down. Only a couple of seconds behind, despite how far we are into this race already. So still, although we're a little bit late, I do apologise for that, we have all to play for in this race. As there you can see the red 4C just in the background there. Elsewhere in this session, we also have Alan Matthews, Paul Millman, Barry Clayton, and Steve Knight. It's Paul Millman and Barry Clayton who have picked the best car, in my opinion, the worst race car, the best car. And so let's see how they fare in the short wheelbase Zagato. When we were hoping to get going for Monza last time out, last Sunday, I was watching the speed trap times, and I noticed that while it is a difficult beast to tame, the short wheelbase Zagato is an absolute rocket ship in the straights by the looks of things, although the 8C certainly does keep up with that nice big V8 engine, courtesy of Maserati. It isn't quite the match for that turbocharged power of that Julia short wheelbase. And good looking car, great sounding car. Please, Alpha, make some more of it. Or Zagato, please make some more of that. That was a beautiful car, and I'm sad that I'll never be anywhere near one in my life. But we still get to see some of them in the virtual world of racing. Barry Clayton coming round now to start the next lap, actually on the soft compound of tyres. So we have three cars in softs. It's the two Zagatos. That might just be the slick potentially for that car then. I'm not quite familiar with them, unfortunately. I will be a little bit more come the next round on Sunday. But we have the soft on Steve Knight's 8C as well, so he's gone for a more aggressive strategy early on, potentially to try and to jump up the grid a little bit on the starting phase of the race. So 11 laps in now, make that 12 in fact for the drivers here. It's going to be 13 in just a moment, but the rest of the field is opting for the medium compound tyre. And in fact, if you look at the grid split, if you're following on with my timing as well, unfortunately I do apologise, the timing tower not quite here with us, but it is the top three all running on that medium compound tyre, so clearly the race tyre of choice here at this very technical, well, would you say technical, should we say geographically interesting circuit here in Portimao in Portugal, because it's like a roller coaster ride. Just look at it, and we'll try and see if we can go with an onboard shot in just a second. But for the drivers, here we are now. We're actually inside the mind of Andrew Greco. Ooh, isn't that terrifying? We have become Andy Craker. Look at the speed that I am carrying now. But to look at the dips and the dives, the cambers, the off-cambers, it's going to be working the rear tyres so hard here at Portimao. Not to mention track temperatures as well won't be helping the fronts either, because it's not exactly a slow average speed around this circuit, as we see some IndyCar lines being deployed here by Andy Craker. I imagine running a little bit wide to try and preserve the tyres, or potentially has messed up the previous braking zone. Alex Smith made up a lot of time heading into that corner then, but with 55 minutes to go, drivers got to be very careful, very cautious, don't want to overdo it. Are we potentially seeing Andy Craker? This is what happens when I've become Andy Craker and I've ruined his race. I do apologise, Andy. I've jumped out the car now. I'm no longer Andy Craker. I think we should see now his pace improves tenfold, and it's rather disappointing and depressing to hear for myself. But he's now very much under pressure, is Andy Craker. Alex Smith with that 4C GT3, that little four-cylinder car here, all made for handling. And it is looking oh so planted heading through some of those corners now. It's just looking so much more composed than the 8C at this point in time. That's not to say that the 8C is a bad car by any means. From what I've heard from the drivers' feedback, it's actually quite a pleasant car to drive, which is possibly a little bit different to the regular road car. Let's not delve into that too much. But the 4C is just looking poised and ready to overtake whenever necessary. I should also warn as well for the slight lack of frame rate. We are above average, averaging above 30, but my lovely, beautiful ray tracing 3080 has unfortunately died a bit of premature death. So while that is being sorted, I believe it's in the warranty, so hopefully that will be absolutely fine once the iron gets back to me. We have to slum it out on a GTX 1050 from 7 years ago? 7 years ago now, would you believe it? This card came out. It wasn't a good card then, and it's not a great card now. But we're going to plough on and see how these drivers fare. We might be a little bit slower paced in the commentary box, just saying just me of course, and many other voices in my head. But with a 49-minute straight run, although it should have been a 90-minute run. Oh dear, as we have Steve Knight here, some traffic due to be lapped. I have a feeling that I should be seeing liveries on the 8Cs. It's just occurred to me, having just seen one grey car and a second grey car. Looks like there should be liveries here. But we'll solve that for Sunday, because enough effort went into getting us live this evening, as we see Steve Knight sitting on the outside there to allow the faster cars pass. And that is now the first time we have cars no longer on the lead lap, which is very impressive indeed, given that we are so long into such a long format race. But it is now the two front runners with an impressive delta to the cars behind. In fact, make that about 30 or 40 seconds. Again, I can't give you exact figures. I do apologise for that. I'll try and get it resolved as quickly as possible. But it's looking very good for these two up front here. They have clearly class-leading pace. Yes, so the commentary might be a little bit slower paced at points, might be a bit more of a relaxed feel, because I can't keep professionalism up for more than the allocated half an hour, quite clearly. No, it's not the case. But it's just a bit of summer fun, this championship, and it's looking, although it is fun, it's looking very competitive indeed. We'll have a look at the, competitive in terms of the pace of the driver. We'll have a look in a second at how the points are tallying up. But as we see, Andy Craker, I think, he's brought it back off the brink, and as I say, it's because I jumped back out of cockpit cam, so I do apologise for that one, Andy. Your pace immediately resolved itself. Are we seeing that Andy's taking a bit too many bites out of the cherry in terms of his front tyres here? The car's not looking quite as poised as that 4C behind, and I think now, although it's a little bit difficult on some points at Portimao, I think Alex Smith is just waiting for his opportunity to get a nose up the inside and overtake. Okay, we have some of the timing tower back. I repeat, we have some of the timing tower back, but as you can see, there's this small nightmare going on. I blame my computer entirely. It's not me at all. It's not me in the slightest. It's definitely the computer. But it's still Andrew Craker who leads this race despite those potential worries, those potential struggles. I think he's got control of this one for now, and we're seeing quite a pace advantage in a straight line between Andy Craker's 8C and Alex Smith's 4C, which is quite interesting usually. If you think back to, say, the single seater running, which seems like such an age ago, it was always the case that Alex Smith would have these blisteringly fast cars in a straight line, and would then have to navigate them around the corner with the controller. But doesn't seem to be the case this time around. It seems that Alex has found a car that he feels really comfortable in now. In that 4C, so we're a bit of a fan of it. Although it is interesting, drivers are free, I should mention, at any point in the season to swap what car they're going to run for a given round. Andy Craker's looking a little bit more composed on this lap, has made up, has improved his delta. In fact, this could be a personal best lap time as things carry on its way. As you can see in the bottom left hand of your screen there, and I do apologise for that completely random black bar, no idea what that is. Let's see if we can resolve that one without crashing the entire stream. We can! It is Andy Craker crossing the line. Will it be his new fastest lap of the race? It will, by 1/10 of a second, a 1:45.4. As you can see, that me going and fixing that issue has now caused the speed trap to be completely in the middle of nowhere. There we are. It's all going well here, don't worry. I think the other issue is not only the change graphics card, I've also updated to Windows 11. And that is a very scary prospect, because what I did then was I left full screen mode, and then the full screen appeared on OBS. So we'll forget that one. But it is Alex Smith actually now on this lap through that first sector, made up a fairly substantial amount of time actually on his rival here. It's a 27.4 heading through the first sector there. Meanwhile, Craker a 27.6. See those brake discs glowing red hot now. 45 minutes to go in this race. Those brakes have already had an absolute hammering, and they're still only at half race distance. And that's definitely liveried 8C there, as we're now on the 17th lap. As we can see here, not a great lap for Alex Smith. Has dropped back a little bit now to the tune of about 1.5 seconds. This is making it just a little bit uncomfortable now for Andy Craker as we head through the halfway stage of this race. 18 laps down, around 18 to go, and things are looking a little bit better now for Andy Craker. Will we see potentially, now that he's nervous a little bit, will he push more, and will we see Alex Smith just kind of creep his way back forwards once again? We're seeing Andy taking these exceedingly wide lines here just to try and keep the car going in the right direction. He's carrying an awful amount of speed in the 8C. Jumps back onto that start-finish line. I'm watching now on the timing system. We can just see those two blips for, let's say, CRA and SMI heading down that first straight, and just see Andy Craig and Carl walking away through the speed trap at 173 miles an hour. I would love to switch to Alex Smith's car, but unfortunately I can't. The hotkey not working. See if we can look our way into it. We can! Fantastic! On board now with Alex Smith. His best lap at a 1:45.6, so just a couple of tenths off of Andy Craig's absolute best time, but seems to be a little bit off the pace just in this stage of the race. Let's see now, next time we go for a speed trap, what type of speed are we seeing from the 4C? Gaining now for Alex Smith here. We can see just as we are getting ready to head around the final corner of this lap. I think it might be considered two apexes, but it is one big sweeping right-hander. And let's see what type of speed we get now on the 19th lap of this race. The gap closing up ever so slightly on this lap. Andy Craig losing out a little bit of speed potentially as we head now on the downhill down the straight, and we can see they're banging off the limits. They're about 156, 157 miles an hour. Apparently it's 160, but I saw 256 kilometers an hour on the dash there. Actually looked like through that braking zone, Alex Smith able to gain by quite a margin, keeping Andy Craig in check very well indeed. Now in terms of delta between the rest of the cars, it looks like we actually have a bit of a battle going on between nobody. Nope, that is... Yep, nobody. It's these two at the moment who are enjoying their battle as we head into Sector 2 now. See there, Andy Craig going quite wide on the run through what's effectively the penultimate corner there. I think he's trying his utmost to preserve the tyre life, what little tyre life there is left, because I must say at this stage in the race it's not looking all that comfortable in that car. How's it going to be in the next 30 or so laps as we head down the start-finish straight once again, banging off the rev limits, getting closer and closer, actually carrying more speed this time round. We'll make that 163 apparently, so maybe I'm not quite sure which one is accurate, whether it's the dash inside the car or whether it is the speed trap data. Either way, very quick indeed, but there's a lot of air on board that car as well, so Andy Craig is able to just about keep him at bay with that big V8 engine as well into the 21st lap now, and it's looking like it's predicted at least it could be a good one for Alex Smith at this point in time. Let's see how that lap time progresses. Actually have a quick look at some of the other data surrounding this race and this championship. Let's see how this championship is shaping up so far. So at the moment we are actually, I believe, a good number of races in. We are 4 races in. My setters just crashed. No, we are back. Okay. We are 4 races in at this point in time. It is Will Inglis, who is currently not here. He's Lucky Sod is currently debating which type of wine to open. I can't remember. He'd just been on the beach Yeah, that was it. He'd just been on the beach and he's now contemplating some camembert. It wasn't wine, it was cheese. But no, it's all right for some there. Will, of course, take the championship lead and then off abroad. But it is Andy Craker here leading this race who will be taking that advantage back by the end of 2 nights of running with 61 points to his name. We have Rosie Oliver in P3 with 43 points to her name, unfortunately. I was about to say, unfortunately, I haven't met Rosie Oliver yet. I haven't had the chance to watch her racing, but I've just realised, and that will, of course, be the newlywed Rosie Hodson. So, congratulations, Rosie. Apologies for not quite recognising who it was at first there, but then it's Barry Clayton in P4 as Alex Smith dives into the pit. What is this for here? We're not entirely sure. Don't know if it's a penalty to serve, whether this is where now we are seeing a tyre change. Let's see now as what will the timing system tell us. I do believe that is, in fact, a tyre change for Alex Smith. Potentially a bit of an undercut here is what we are seeing. Very interesting. Indeed, he's seen the state of Andy Craker's car here and he's decided, you know what, I need to dive into the pits here, take that advantage while Andy Craker's at his slowest. Let's make my own car even quicker. And I'd like to thank Alex as well for while he's putting in an almighty effort, an almighty drive as well. He's actually able to offer me tech support, which is incredible. Imagine doing both at the same time. Oh no, it's Will. It's Will, sorry. Oh no, Alex did provide me tech support, and then Will provided me tech support afterwards. So I hope you are watching, Will. Hopefully you weren't put off by all the tech issues early on. Is that a looming Zagato? I think that is a looming Zagato. As we have Andy Craker behind there with now Alex Smith in the lead. Andy Craker clearly already hitting, unless he is now a lap down. Is Alex Smith. Quite catch that one, sorry, the confusion with the screen. Let's see if we can go on board with Paul Millman, because I just want to have a look at. We haven't seen a Zagato properly on the screen yet. I feel like that is an important part of this evening, is to have a look at the Zagato. Let's have a look. Someone wants to show their Zagato off. Someone must want to show their Zagato. I'm going to stop playing with it now before it breaks even more. That's what I've just decided I'm going to do. You all know what the Zagato looks like because you may have needed a moment alone because of it, but just find the Zagato. Okay, we're watching Andy Craker now. It's been decided. We're watching Andy Craker, who still leads this race. As Alan Matthews actually diving into the pits now, so the second out of 3 cars, that is the AC, now diving into the pits. We're on board with Alan Matthews actually at this point in time. Apologies if I thought that was Andy Craker. It's my fault for not loading liveries properly. But let's see now, Andy Craker we're on board with at the moment. Still out there in the lead, no one to challenge him at all now. This might actually be let's see, because it was still at 145 for him on that previous lap. He might have allowed Alex Smith to dive and split, says, yeah, go on, you know what, you burn up your nice fresh set of medium tyres. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stay out, I'm going to enjoy the fact that you're no longer putting pressure on me, and I'm going to enjoy some nice quiet lapping there. As you can see, Andy Craig is actually, that wasn't actually a turn, he was actually using as much of the track as physically possible in order to get the car ready into the turn. That is just how much speed he's trying to carry. Well, I must say, the car seems to be very eager to weave and bound around the circuit. Do we potentially have a little bit too little damping on the car? Not quite sure what could cause that. It doesn't look, at no point I would say has the 4C, the 8C looked like the most comfortable car in the world to drive for Andy Craker. It's not to say that he's not feeling confident in it, it's just the car itself is not entirely forgiving. But I say all that, he's still leading this race, still putting in an almighty drive at this point in time, actually on this lap, picking a 1:45.2. We're only 30 seconds in, but let's see if he can keep that up, or if it is this slightly twisty relative turn here. Middle sector that is costing him the time, because if so, he may want to start thinking about diving into the pits. Although, if this pace is anything to go by, nope, that is definitely time to start thinking about the pits now, I would say. If that's Andy Craker in the gravel there after that's quite a shame actually. I'm going to bring that one down to the commentator's curse, because I was about to say the pace is looking great at the moment. The previous lap was was very strong. In fact, no, sorry, his best lap was strong. His previous lap wasn't great, actually. It was 146.8, in which case I think it's time now for Andy to dive into the pits before Alex Smith's undercut works rather well for him. On board at the moment with Steve Knight, another driver in the 8C. Running in at P6, but still into the low 150 range at this point in time. Sure, that's just the way the 8C looks on track is just a characteristic of perhaps how it's designed or how that car handles him. It is such a handful. We're on board at the moment with Alex Smith. He's a 145.495, so with a fresh set of tyres on board, a fresh set of boots, he is really putting the charger now. Has pretty much, by 700th of a second he misses out, has matched Andy Craig's best time, and is looking to set another one of those bests. Meanwhile, Andy Craig is out there on the in the 146s at this point in time. So this is a crucial stage in Alex Smith's race now. 30 minutes to go. Let's see what he can do. Oh my goodness, we've got so many options for timing towers now. We've gone from nothing at all to all of them. How great is that? Brilliant. Right. If only I could turn system forward. There you go, there's a little red box in the corner now. But there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We now have the ability to scroll through the cars as and when we want. How brilliant is that? This is so useful now. Right, it's still Andy Craker, but he's in the pits. 25 laps under his belt. Alex Smith is 39 seconds behind. How long is a pit stop here? How quickly can Andy Craker negotiate this phase of the race now? He's out of the box already. Where is Alex Smith? He's just exited the penultimate corner. I think, ladies and gentlemen, Andy Craker has nailed this pit strategy. Actually, I do apologise for doubting otherwise. Alex Smith has, unfortunately for him, actually built his gap quite substantially in that pit face. His only hope, I suspect, is that the tyres will last just that little bit longer into the final half an hour of this race. Now we are at sprint race distance. Effectively, for Andy Craker, this becomes a sprint race now. As you can see there, the elevation change here at this track is just sensational. 8 seconds now separate Andy Craker and Alex Smith. Let's see who can close up that gap. In terms of current pace then, it's a 146.4 for Alex Smith on that previous one. Obviously Andy Craker, we don't have a time for it just yet. We will in just a second though. But in terms of their best laps, Alex Smith has now set the new fastest lap of the race, and that's a 145.3 comparison to his 45.4. I'm sorry, in comparison to Craker's 45.4. I should mention as well, Alan Matthews setting the previous sector 3 there, but we'll find out in just a moment's time what Andy Craker's current pace is and what he can do. I should also mention, as it looks to me that Alex Smith has had an off potentially, because that 8-second margin has just built up to an 18-second margin. It would be a great shape. But there it is. Just look at that car. Is that car not utterly sensational? Look! It's just stunning. Here we go now. This is the rest of the stream. It's going to be silent from here now. All we need to do is look. That is, I think that's the best looking race car of all time. And bold claim. And I have just remembered that the 33 Charlie exists. And many other classic alphas as well, and many other historic F1 cars. But that's up there. Maybe not. It's up there. Maybe not the best. it's certainly up there. It is a brilliant looking car. You can see that Paul Miller as well, sporting the same car. These two are actually the winners. I have now decided, purely because of the car choice that they've made, that makes them the winners in this. There's no other point in competing otherwise, because they've picked the Zagato, and therefore they're the best. If you ignore the fact that it's not the best race car, just look at it. Back on board then with Andy Craig after that small interlude. We are watching him still controlling this race very well indeed, predicting a 144, our first dip into 144. Of course, we've got a new fresh set of boots on, and not only that, we have some nice low fuel levels, although I imagine that fuel level has in fact increased in that pit stop, potentially. We also have had a track that has been rubbering in very nicely for the past hour now, so the track's getting grippier, driver more confidence in the car and the track combination, and has a fresh set of tyres as well. And we're seeing that fact that he has just posted a purple sector 2 here, and heads for that final lap, and we'll see what the fastest lap of this race will be. And I can say the fastest lap of this race is now a 144.7, potentially kept up with a little bit of slipstream, courtesy of the back marker there. That is Steve Knight getting out of the way nicely. They're doing the exact job that Andy Craig needed there. We're seeing about a 3 mile an hour delta between the 4C and the 8C in terms of straight line speed. And at this point in the race, Andy Craig seems to be just running away with it now. Seems to be, I say running away with it, still half an hour to go in 22 seconds, but seems to be a lot more comfortable than he was just a few laps ago. See now that delta between Andy Craig and Alex Smith, after building up a little bit to around 22 seconds, in the low 20s now. For Alex's sake, he'd be loving to try and bring that back down to kind of the 15-second range. If you get it there, you've still got some hopes of starting to close that gap, start settling in those consistent lap times and closing the gap nicely. Not happening just at this stage of the race, but we do have 22 minutes left. We're on lap 29 now, so we presumed it'll be around say 30, maybe 40-ish laps. So we are heading into the final stages of this race. Let's see how these two front runners fare now, because they have been absolutely fast in the field. But Andy Craig are the only driver into the 44s at this stage. Meanwhile, we're on board with Paul Milner at the moment, which was a great opportunity to once again have a look at this. This is going to be a really... I'm going to have to just sit before Sunday's race. I'm just going to have to sit and watch it and just look at pictures of this. It's so distracting. It's so pretty. You know, it's not fair. It's like actually inhumane to make me look at this, but not have to drive it. Just look at it. As we see that is Steve Knight behind. Steve Knight is, I believe, a lap down on Paul Millman at this stage. Is that Steve Knight? No, it is Alan Matthews. So Alan Matthews is a lap ahead of Barry Clayton here. Is looking for a moment at which to get past, but I imagine that Zagato is a bit of a big car, the Zagato, actually, it being based on a regular Giulia. I say regular, it's obviously based on a quad, but it being based on just a kind of a modern Giulia. It's not the smallest car in the world, although it has had a few inches chopped out of the wheelbase. It is by no means a small car. It actually sort of dwarfs the 8C, and when you bear in mind the 8C has a few, shall we say, a bit of shared genetics with a Maserati Gran Turismo, also very much not a small car, although the 8C is a little bit smaller than Gran Turismo small aircraft carrier size. It is quite a shock to see just how much the Zagato dwarfs the cars. Haven't seen one next to a 4C yet, so that'd be quite interesting to see. The 4C, of course, very small car, apart from widthways, in which case it's a small bus. But yeah, interesting to see just how big that car is. Now we're back on board with the... Oh, that is a bit of a tank slapper for Alan Matthews. Well caught, sir. That is catch of the day so far. Using the brakes there to bring the rear end back into check. I think if he'd stayed off the throttle or tried to put a bit of throttle in, slide out of it, of course, these GT3 cars, all their aero, don't like to slide. Race cars never want to drift and are not usually very catchable when they do. So braking was the only option for Alan Matthews there, and it worked well. That was a nice little bit of driving there. Alan Matthews well held. That is a good catch indeed. But Andy Craig currently leading this race, building up his delta. In fact, might be on for a fastest lap on this lap. There we are, predicting a 1:44.6. We're only 28 seconds in, of course, so let's see how it progresses further down the line. Still predicted a high 144, not quite the 144.7 or 6 that we were expecting. Oh no, fortune's sometimes a commentator's curse is not much of a curse. It can be oh, never mind. I spoke far too soon. I do apologise, Andy Craig. It's because we went into the cockpit cam once again. As soon as you put Reeve in the car, it gets slower, and that is, yeah, can confirm. Although I did take great pride in its complete aside. I know we've mentioned it so many times already. I can't believe it was so long ago now. The Mito track day was about a week after I'd been there for some work on helping out a track day experience company. The track day experience company had a nice, lovely McLaren. I wish it was a Maserati. McLaren 540C. As we see Andrew Craker starting the next lap. It was a nice McLaren, and it was heading around the Corse sprint course and set a 31.2 or 3 or something. So I decided in my head that it was my goal when I was there the week after with the Mito crew to try and beat that in the Mito, and I can confirm that with a 30.5, the little Mito QV with nothing but a blue spark tune, some poly bushes, and what were some nice new TR1 Sports at one point in time. Beat the McLaren 540C around to that small car park that is Corse. I do admit that the McLaren basically wasn't on boost by the end of the straight, as Andy Craig would be wishing he had a little boost to get back on track as quickly as possible. With a very wide hill, but the McLaren basically couldn't correct his legs. It was superb to that track. I don't think the Mito would fare very well on a track like this here at Portimao, where clearly the high-speed cars reign supreme, as we are seeing with Andrew Craker, but fun nonetheless. Still low 145s for Andy at this point in time. He has very much brought this race back into control. When we were able to jump on board with him, and again, apologies for that delayed start to the proceedings, but I'm not going to say it's all solved now and we're good to go for Sunday. because I have been trying for the past couple of rounds now to jump in the stream. But I'm not going to say it's all completely solved and that's it, we're good, we're ready to go. All I'm saying is hope. And I hope you'll join me in that hope, because I'd like to see a full one of these races. It looks like tremendous fun. It looks like it's been great so far. So we head now down onto the next lap. A 32-second margin for Andy Craker this time round. So I don't think it matters too much what Andy does in his car, as long as he doesn't crash out, because it looks to me that Alex is potentially struggling a little bit at this stage in the race. With that, it's not a car behind looking to hunt him down. He's what might not be helping Alex Smith here is he is right in the mix in terms of left traffic and traffic to negotiate. I think the pit strategy really sniped him, really didn't help him at all, and he just wasn't able to claw that back potentially through not enough of a pace advantage owing to the difference in nature of the two cars, as he has potentially a little bit of slipstream here from Steve Knight, and add in the mix of traffic on the track as well. It's not. It's certainly not an easy thing here in Corse racing. It's not. That's not to say that a sprint race is all just about going as quickly as possible through the corners and seeing who comes out. You've got to think about so many other factors as well. But in endurance racing, there's so much to think about. You've got to think about pit strategy. You've got to think about looking after the car. You've got to think about traffic. You've got to think about where are my rivals in relation to me. There's so many little extra nuances to endurance racing that even with extended run, maybe more than 90 minutes, even 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, it's still a thoroughly enjoyable category of the sport, if you will. And we're seeing now this gap between Alex Smith and Andy Craker building up yet again. Now 33 seconds between him and Andy. As we jump back on board with Alex Smith, you see that he's been learning a couple of tricks from his rival Andy Craker there, running quite wide. I do wonder, and I will ask the drivers actually, just out of pure curiosity, is that making a difference at a track like this? The amount of energy for the tyres is certainly not small, because these are very high speed cars. These are, if you ignore the RSS Supreme, the quickest cars we've ever ran. So the tyres are being worked hard, and being worked hard for such a long time as well. We have around about 7 laps, I'd say, 7 or 8 laps to go in this race. 12 minutes on the clock. We'll be around 41, 42 laps as we come across the line. Only 10 minutes to go now, and these drivers have put in an almighty effort. I should commend them really for that. I very much doubt that I could keep my nose clean for 90 minutes. Very much doubt that I'd be have not only the kind of ability to keep the car on the grey stuff for as long as possible, but also in sim racing there is a physical element as well. You know, we've got force feedback wheels. Sometimes the room is that a little bit hot, like that. Sometimes you do give yourself a real workout when running with this sort of car, especially if you're in a bit of a push stint. So that type of thing you really do have to take into account. I think Alex Smith has learnt from Andy Craig. They're using as much of the track as possible to get that car around this final corner. It clearly is. Actually, it doesn't look like it on the track, but it doesn't look like it on the diagram. But I can't say Portimao is one I've driven for probably a couple of years now. It looks like it could be a slightly tightening radius towards the end of that corner there. I wonder if that's what's not necessarily catching the drivers out, but the drivers are aware of, want to maintain the speed and opting for a slightly different line there in order to make sure that they get the car around the corner safely and at high speed, because you want as much of a run as possible running down that start-finish straight. It's one of, if not No, I'd say it's the second biggest overtaking opportunity on the track. The next biggest overtaking opportunity, of course, comes at turn 5. Turn 5, turn 6 part of the circuit where you've got that very tight hairpin style corner that switches back on itself, the left-hander right after the big descent down the hill, the big crested hill, and in fact Alex Smith has just navigated that. Let's have a look at Paul Mullen. It's fantastic in the best car on the grid. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at the best car on the grid go round that corner now. I'm not biased in any way, shape or form as we hit the final 10 minutes of this race. So here's that hairpin. The last lap from Pullman into the 52s on the previous run there, so I'm sure there was a little bit of an error creeping in potentially, but currently in the high 44 Pullman. So he will be able to take home this evening. Just a reminder, it is not the biggest driver roster this evening, but still plenty of participants, 1 point or another in this championship. Not too long to go now, as noted. Before we head back into the regular calendar, but Pullman currently running in 13th, so with some points to back here, he should jump up a good few positions in the championship order, which will be nice reward for him. Likewise, Barry should, in fact, will jump ahead of Rosie, not being able to participate this evening. I should apologise just preemptively, Rosie, if I do accidentally call you Rosie Hodgson at any point during the remaining season of your hot racing with us, or probably knowing me in the next Formula Alpha slash touring car running. I do apologise. I've got used to I've got the bank of the driver list in my head now. I feel like a school teacher, you know, where they spend the time getting to learn the names and they're going to do it all over again. I have a feeling that I am going to completely forget, so I do slip up. I do apologise. But so Barry should be overtaking Rosie Oliver at the end of this race. Now, Andy Craker currently in P2, 61 points to his name, will be taking the championship lead at this point in time. So, Will, I think you know what you've got to do, really. It's you got to make an early flight home. I'm sure your family, friends, colleagues, whether you are enjoying some time away with, they will. If you are, I can't remember. I don't know why I've got if I am, again, sorry. Either way, I'm sure you will be fully excused from your trip and should be able to return immediately for the much more important and pressing matter that is the Summer Endurance Championship. It's all in the name. 30 seconds now, the delta between Andy Craker and Alex Smith. I should mention that. Yes, I'm just leaving it with Zagato for now. You're welcome. Let's look at it. That has been the highlight of my. That's as good as my commentary gets to see. Yeah, if you do visit Corse.com, have a look at some of his fantastic track cycling photos. If you are a bike, a cyclist, or a cycling track, or a Vulcan. Oh, look at that! Oh, that's brilliant! I'm sorry, I've just seen the Vulcan pop in on my left-hand screen there. Resort back to race diving there, but that's a brilliant picture of the Vulcan. So if you are a Cold War era bomber or a bike, and you would like some pictures taken of you, Shawbrick.com. There you go. That's a sponsor for this championship. To perform some lapping. Obviously, the car that is, in my mind, no bias here at all. Obviously, the styling of the Stigma controller, the styling of the 8C is clearly based on Vito. If you ignore the fact that the 8C definitely came before the Vito, and Vito's 8C. The 8C obviously deciding to share its brilliant, utterly beautiful, gorgeous style. It is a truly style. If for whatever reason you haven't had the opportunity to look at one in real life, find one and find one immediately. One will be at National Today. So get on down to National Today, get some tickets, and come have a look. Which reminds me, I need to mend my car and make it road trip worthy, so I can actually get down. Oh, a bit of a twitch there for Alan Matthews, the back end stepping out, well held once again. I have a feeling Alan Matthews' setup is a little bit on the nose, or he's wringing everything out of that car. Either way, good car control from Alan Matthews on display this evening. But yes, he needs to get prepped for National today. But if you haven't got tickets, get tickets. Then you can have a look at 8C and say, wow, that car is absolutely stunning, and wow, it looks like a Meteor, and those two are definitely related. Now 30-second margin between P1, P2, and P2, P3. And then if we have a look at Barry Clayton and Paul Newman on track, there is a little bit of a gap between them as well. Still running quite nicely. We haven't actually had too much of a look at Barry Clayton's Zagato here. Now what are we preferring then? Are we preferring the white base livery here? The more alpha, or the alpha inspired livery, or the slightly less alpha inspired livery? I love the stripes on the side of Barry Clayton's car. Notice we have in fact delved into livery talk, but I just can't ignore the plastering of alpha logos and Paul Lemons. It looks brilliant, and I think it takes the cake for me. And then now between Andy Craker, then we have Alan Matthews, and then we have Steve. Between these 8Cs, what is your favourite? I am struggling. They're all looking very nice indeed. These liveries. There's some similarities, but not quite sure for me. Maybe I'll go with Andy Craig because it's looked so good out in front for so long now. He has done a very good job. It looked to be. Now, it was blind country, so I could be entirely wrong. It looked to me that at the start of the race, it was actually Alan Matthews who dived into the lead heading into that first corner, got a great run and was able to take the lead. But clearly, in the 20 minutes between the stream, between me not being able to join the session, when we were able to go live with Andrew Craig and Alex Smith, had a very good run indeed. Alex Smith's pace dropping off ever so slightly in this later stage of the race, although likewise for Andy Craker, that was a 1:47 on that previous lap, although I suspect should be a little bit of this. It be a small error creeping in hero there, caused that one. And then running very nicely indeed is Andrew Craker. Likewise, Alex Smith as well. Into the 1:46, so pace not quite as it was before, shall we say, but still by no means slow. Likewise, Alan Matthews on this pace as well. Potentially it was a bit of a collision or an early race incident that prevented him from quite matching the pace of the two leaders. Still, will be, as things stand, rounding out the podium, which is thoroughly deserved. Seeing here Andrew Craker, our leader, actually now coming a proper with some left traffic. We should see Paul getting out the way very nice indeed, and he does so absolutely nails that one heading into the braking zone. Absolutely nails that one, allows Andrew Craker to pass, which is great because it gives us another chance to look at the Zagato, which is the most pertinent issue here this evening. Let's see, in terms of pace now heading down the straight, is Paul able to keep up? It looked like Macau was quite eager to keep up with the 8-seater, but that could be able to use factors. Time the throttle was applied, the setup of the car, anything. Just looking at front of the Scots, it was something I noticed when it launched as well. Is it me, or I presume they are, because it would make perfect sense. I think they're Tonale headlights. Could be mistaken. They could be spoken to me. It looks like they are Tonale headlights, and they've suited well. Actually, as I did look at the facelift. I almost think that the facelift had 3 LED setup with the Tonale style headlights. It suits the Junior very well. Of course, back to the original, I said, the 159 Brera, those type of cars. It looks very well. It looks very good. Glad to see they brought it back, but it's not quite that styling that we're talking about in terms of regularly. It's a little bit of a difference there as Andy Craker crosses the line to take the race victory. He thoroughly deserved race victory at that as well, with a 30-second margin between him and the car behind. That was Alex Smith. They were battling for a number of laps, actually more than you'd expect in an endurance race, so good to see that they were able to keep that fight going for as long as possible, and well-deserved race win there as Alex Smith slides his way across the line there. Does he miss the checkered flag? I think he's missed the checkered flag. He has. That's quite amusing. Now, I should mention that, luckily for him, Alan Matthews is 40 seconds behind. If that had I would have done another J-turn. You've got to start it out there. That is best race finish I think I've ever seen. That is... It's not, actually. That goes to Miami in the touring cars last year. But... okay, well done, Alex. That was certainly something. Made that a little bit more difficult for yourself than it otherwise needed to be. But Alan Matthews then crossing the line on next 8C to cross the line. Apologies, I actually missed the exact moment. But there is our race victor, Andy Craker, after 90 minutes. I'm sure the satisfaction is even greater than usual there, because that is an important number of points for Andy Craker now, as Barry Clayton in the final car to cross the line. The final car to cross the line for Steve Knight, who's crossing the line in just a moment, but I'm sure that will feel even more well earned for Craker, and it certainly was. That will allow him to leapfrog into the lead in terms of the championship standings, and of course this championship continues on Sunday, so I hope you've enjoyed watching as much of the races as we've been able to show you. Apologies for the start once again, but glad to say that we won't be having those issues next time out. Portimao, certainly an interesting circuit, certainly a challenge for the drivers, a high-speed track that's pushed the WEC star cars to their limit. And interesting to see the differences in the cars as well. I've really enjoyed being able to actually jump on board for the first time in this series, and very luckily we have more to come in the coming weeks. So until then, until next Sunday, it's a goodbye. Thank you very much for watching.